everybody. This is not a vampire game. This is Mork Borg. I am your storyteller, Michael Walsh, aka the Zealot of the Embraced. Allow me the honor of having all of you be introduced to our players for this evening.
Hey, I'm Chaser Black Coffee Chase playing the Errant Fool. Or
I am Lou, and my pronouns are he, him, and I'm playing Margar, the Fanged Deserter.
And my name is Rose, and I will be playing Giant Seals the Moon. Pronouns for both of us are she, her.
So, a couple of things before we start. Even though I am going for quite the scare tactic appearance here, I can only see 50%, so if I'm squinting at something, I swear I'm not having a stroke. We are sponsored by Odd Duck Dice. And this is my lovely set I had commissioned. They do amazing, fantastic work, handcrafted out of the heart of the United States, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I highly recommend you go and seek out Odd Duck Dice. They're at Odd Duck Dice at most socials. Also, the Blank Bodies podcast. If you are into Vampire the Masquerade, World of Darkness, or any kind of dick jokes, hit them up. So, starting out for this evening's festivities, welcome to the setting of Mork Borg. Thank you to my lovely sister-in-law, Nina, who is attempting to help me with some of these pronunciations. So, I had a lot of research. So, this story is taking place on the shores of the Endless Sea on the Upper East Coast in the only city that still resides as anything that resembles a poor city, the Hilbereth, the city on the edge of all misery. Woe to the Hilbereth, woe to the city that was there when all worlds ended and the endless sea began. Pray for its salvation, if there is some, and oblivion if there is not. Before the end began, Behilbereth was a mighty port, the finest in any world. Now is the city on the shore. Never let yourself be seen as a fool, and ask about the city on the shore. All people know it. Behilbereth is a twisted, shattered reflection of its once glorious self, or perhaps in some way it is now more glorious still, no longer a stain on the coast. It is now an all too visible glimpse into Nick Kulib's design for this world. Twisted, abominable half things crawl and lurch and scrape down twisted, half organic streets. Spires like claws reach into the sky. Anything real crumbling off them like meat off a boiled giant. On the edges, looking at it from the northern shores of Grift, it looks like warped nightmare. Yet when you stand in the madness of Behilbereth and look at Grift from the south, the wretched place whispers to you, urging you to feel at home. And our story begins at a shitty waterhole known as the Salty Bitch, where if you step into it, you can smell the salt from the sea. The only thing that actually stands out from it that is a good thing, since salt helps preserve what meat can be found left, meat and or fish and or anything edible at this point in history. The sky has been black, covered from decades of sunless life. The shores practically barren. On its shores, you have spanses where it is completely empty, and then at its main port hub, the dozens upon dozens of older ships, fishing ships, whaling ships that have been almost smashed in together. And it's an amalgamation that's been harbored and reformed over time that makes this giant hole that stands out coming from the beach. Anyone that resides in the city as its home knows for decades now the city has fallen under a tyrant, a demonic tyrant, one of she's children. And every season they require a certain amount of sacrifice to spare the city. The three courts that rule Behilbereth are the ones that attempt to maintain the sacrifices. On this particular evening, our intrepid trio is inside the Salty Bitch. Please describe your character and what they would be doing inside a hive of scum and villainy shithole tavern such as this.
Would feel right at home. Erm's wearing a cloak, nothing underneath it. No muscle mass to them, despite having a sword. Ripped pants and very shitty shoes. They're kind of old, creepy, cowardice looking, but they will regale you with great tales for drink, for coin.
Very nice.
I probably just swindled some unsuspecting fellow.
I wouldn't expect anything less. Giant? What does giant prefer to be called? Or is it a full terminology?
She goes by the full name. But for most folks, she will actually introduce herself as G. Or for folks who don't seem to get it, she'll just go and GG is also acceptable. So
When Gigi is inside this fine pile of a shithole, what does everybody see?
they'll see a smallish sort of frame figure, probably about, I want to say about 5'6" or so. Shapely legs, so it's clearly very obviously a woman. But from like the waist up, she is covered in pretty much cloak and also some form or other of like masking and head covering. The only thing you can see is just crystal clear blue eyes and just dark lines and like tufts of like little eyebrows. She only just shows off the eyes, and she doesn't take the mask off really for anyone. Anyone who just knows her just knows the Brilliant Eye Lady, essentially, is her other name for those who don't know who she is. It's a little off-putting at first because it's just eerily crystal blue. It's almost like nightmarish. And she'll step into the bar and just take a cursory look around like she usually does. And see what the salty bitch has for her today.
And for our final intrepid traveler, Margar, when someone steps inside the Salty Bitch and lay eyes upon you, what would they see?
Margar is, he's stocky, kind of short, squat guy. He's almost as wide as he is tall. He's muscular, but kind of a little overweight as well. Like, he's not like fit like that, but he's strong. You know that this guy's seen some shit. He's got some strength to him. And what skin you do see is covered in scars, burns, and yeah, he's all in leather, and doesn't seem to be the one person that you'd want to approach.
As all of you are inside, you suddenly hear the chimes of cymbals, certain types of bells, and it gets louder outside, and after several minutes, you see almost a crowd of people head into the tavern. The majority of them have a similar appearance, but the one in front is dressed as you see fit, with some type of leather apron on that is stained over towards the bottom half that seems more fish guts, anything that's been scavenged off after a huge haul that came in from the shipyards. Black tunic, robed bottoms, and almost all of them that stride in have this type of hood that hangs over their face. The majority of the embraced, as far as a cult as any of you are concerned, they've taken on almost like a hive mind, and they don't really rely on appearance as much as fixated stature and titles. And the individual in the front that has the apron on is kind of a public figure in town. He's known as Sigur, and as he heads to the counter, he calls over the bartender quite rudely. "Over here, lad. For me, for my brethren, and around for everyone in here. Tonight is a night to celebrate, for in 3 nights it shall be the beckoning of the season. The sacrifice shall be presented, and it is a time of celebration." And he turns around and he goes, "The drinks are of the embraced."
You say that shit the other day.
As he reaches down, the bartender picks up a glass, takes a sip, and turns and says, "You're obviously mistaken, and probably more than often here, highly intoxicated. If you know anything about the seasonal sacrifice, you know this is a time to celebrate, for we have done our Lord's work."
Oh fuck, it's been a whole year already.
My, how time flies.
It does. So, a couple of the handmaids head out with anything they can scrounge up as far as a platter. Some of them are appropriate, some of them are made out of wood, some of them are scraps. But you all have some type of drinking vessel in front of you. It smells of a rich mead, if anything. Anything in this city that can be scrounged as far as fruits and wheats and tradable material is experimented on to get any type of alcohol in here. It tends to help the people carry on nightly.
I had a fermented fish drink once. That sucked. But it got you drunk.
So, someone actually hears that, they call out from the back of the bar and they say, "That didn't happen to be Sustrom and did it?" He starts sitting on top of the table.
Hey, you survived too.
That I did, but the day after, it was a hell of an upheaval.
Yeah, I wonder what they did with that upheaval. Probably turned it into more hooch.
Oh, God. So, who is drinking as Sigur raises his cup and gives a toast to she, the one that overlooks us, the one that protects us, the one that shall be delivered to? We present thee with this year's offerings. In your name, she. And about 3/4 of the bar is holding up stuff. Anyone who's actually conscious, because there are a couple of unconscious individuals either laying heads on tables, sitting on the floor off in the corner, things like that. Is anybody else choosing to add in on the toast?
I think I've already drank drink my drink, and I'm like, all right, hurry the fuck up.
He raises and he drinks. And several others drink behind him also. And he turns to the bartender and he pulls out a small pouch. And he starts issuing out stacks of silver. And silver that comes from anybody from the Embrace is a different type of silver almost. Silver is rare as far as being paid out for services rendered, traded items, but anything that comes from the Embraced or anything that resembles any type of religious holding, their currency seems to be much more shinier than everybody else's. And as he pushes over a couple of stacks, he turns around and he says, "What? There's no song, there's no cheering, I didn't hear any jokes. This place really is a shithole, isn't it?"
Look around, like, every place is a shithole.
True, but again, this is the end of the season. We've survived another year. Praise be she. That should be something to celebrate, does it not?
You want to liven it up? It takes out my sword and, like, stabs one of the sleeping individuals.
I just scared the shit out of him. He starts rolling all over the floor.
Look, they're dancing.
Wow.
Well, that one is.
Aren't you a lively one? What are you, some type of entertainer? As he looks you up and down.
Not heard of the glorious exploits of Lord Erm?
Lord Erm. And he turns
Here we
and
go.
starts whispering to a couple of his other Embrace that headed inside, and he goes to hold back a chuckle, and he... Forgive me, Lord Erm, and he makes a extremely mocked pow. If there's anything I can do for the great Lord Erm, by all means. Would you care for another beverage, possibly?
I'll take you up on that.
And he turns to the bartender and he motions to Erm. Where's everybody sitting in approximation to Erm right now?
I just figured we're all sitting around the table.
So Sigur and two others take up seats with you. And the bartender himself actually comes over, a very disheveled individual. He has his own mockery of an apron, but it's covered in all different types of spills and blood, and his hand is wrapped up on the left from having to prepare certain types of items to go into said beverages. He lays out a shitty exposition of a platter with 6 wooden mugs in front of all of you. Sigur picks up his and he says, "To Lord Erm, our entertainer for this evening."
Erm,
I'll drink to me.
Erm
Go to
versus
yourself.
Your fault.
you never know when you're gonna need to, bless yourself.
This is very true. And as the evening goes on, you actually get into some decent conversation. A lot of it is talk about a seasonal sacrifice, especially if you talk to any Embrace cultist. The Embrace cultists worship She, swearing Beholdereth as a testament to her power. They seek to crush all hope from Beholdereth, and that begins with destroying their foes. They believe that Beholdereth in their glorious homeland, but it must spread to the rest of the dying world. They believe that enlightened deserve to die for their heresy. They seek to enslave the enchanted and take them to She's side. Their trademark is a uniform that is previously described, but at times, if any of you have seen any of the embraced, either topless in a yard working or without a hood, they're personally known to be covered in scars, fully mutilated. It isn't exactly known what part mutilation takes in their ceremonies, but it is a common physical appearance.
It's subjected to that same shit that I did. Scarification. But, you know, I don't do it for some lord or some she-god. I just got it in battle.
You will respect her name in our presence.
Yeah, I called her a she, didn't I?
She is her name.
So, I got one thing right.
For now, I believe. How familiar are you with the mother two-headed basilisk?
Never seen one. So
You haven't had the visions or decided to go on a quest across the tundras to attempt to seek her out in all of her benevolence?
no, why would I travel that far? I could die really close to home here.
You could die anywhere, but if you seek her out, at least if you make it to her, you'll find salvation.
Yeah, nah. I'm not taking the long trek for a chance meeting with a god.
Well, we all can't be perfect in our beliefs, but I do respect you for, if not residing here, then at least traveling here. And all of you, for the first roll of the evening, please make me a toughness check. That'll be a d20 plus your toughness modifier.
14.
First roll of the evening.
First
First
roll
roll
of
of
the
my odd
evening.
duck.
16.
And well, that wasn't great. 14 total.
14 total. So, I am going to allow and Margar one action. Going to allow GG 2 actions. Now, as the conversation continues between Seeger and Margar, at first for and Margar, you start to feel the inside of the tavern possibly closing in on you physically, and things start to spin in your heads. It could be a little too much beverage. It could be a foul stench in the air or combination, but you're not feeling well at all.
Yes.
What do you do?
I'm gonna try to sleight of hand a quick poison into to his drink, and cheers, and bottoms it up.
Please, by all means, describe to me how you would care to, and then give me a agility roll.
Yeah, I'm. And let's thank our generous host, and I'll like have the vial like next to my thing and like accidentally splash it like all in his drink.
Oh yes, let's toast our extremely fantastic host. And he actually turns around to the bartender and he says, "To own rest," and slams it back.
Hell yeah.
Margar, as this toast is going on, you feel the same effects. What do
Yeah.
you do?
Margar pulls out his dagger, and he just jams it into the table to like steady himself. He's just trying to brace himself because he's starting to feel woozy. And he sees like pulling something out, and he's like, but he's not really sure. His eyes are starting to like roll around a bit, but he takes the opportunity to help the situation, and he takes his other hand and he just pounds the table to like create a distraction.
As you stab and pound, one of the other embrace stands up and he seems really attentive toward you, and a couple of others sitting at the bar turn around and put their focus specifically on you. Chiji, by the time you would remotely start to feel any effects, you would see performing a toast before they collapse on top of the table, and then sound-wise, Margar's stab and slam draws almost half the inside of the tavern's attention as he's attempting to stand, and then just collapses onto the floor. And all around you, you see more than several individuals start to have the same effect. What do you do?
She's got 2 actions, yeah?
Yes.
She's gonna look to Sigur.
Oh, did he drink the stuff?
He did.
'Cause
100%.
there is it's DR14.
Sponsored by Odd Duck Dice. I got an 8. So,
Hell yeah.
what are the effects?
D6 damage, and they're blind for 1 hour.
6 fucking damage.
Hell yeah.
So, at the same time, how quick does it take effect?
It's instant.
Okay. So, even before Erm's head hits the table, you see Sigur stand up and then just start to hold his eyes. And then the individual on his left stands up and starts to help steady him. And he has a hand on his face and another hand across his abdomen. And he starts,
This is
call
Sigur
back
doing
to
that?
the ship. Yeah. And he starts going, call back to the ship.
Cool.
And
At this point, Gigi's gonna actually just push past the guy and pile drive on top of him, knock him down, hold him at knife point, and be like, "What were in those drinks?"
by all means, make me an agility roll.
Oh yeah. It's a 4.
Hell yeah.
I'm doing a thing.
So, for all of you also, there are things in this game called omens. And since there is a one-shot, I'm treating omens slightly differently. Yes, everybody, just to give you a heads up, a couple of things are going to be switched around in this game because it's my game. So, for omens, normally they have specific things that they're allowed to do. One of those is a reroll. So, if you want, you can choose to spend an omen, and everybody will have 3 omens. Or if you have something else creative enough that, you know, tickles my fancy, we'll chuck it in the air and see how it falls. Would you care to re-roll?
I would like to re-roll now, so I'll burn one of my
So-
omens.
We'll spend an omen and re-roll.
Oh, that's better. That's 17.
I like the sound of that, but Seeger won't. So the difficulty check for that was actually a 10, since he is blind, and he only got that high because he had somebody assisting him. You do indeed push past his comrade who was attempting to help him up. He gets pushed to the floor up against a bar. You do have a knife pressed up against Seeger's throat, and he turns up and he says, "In her name, this is what it was meant to be." And from under his hood, you see trickles of blood start to pour out. And from under the hood, where the orbits of his eyes would be, you would see moistness start to soak up there, as if obviously something is happening to his orbitals.
You never explained what the conditions of this sacrifice were.
You never asked.
Was this the sacrifice? Was this the sacrifice you were so celebratory about?
And between holding the knife up to him and your amount of conversation, the effects start to take hold over you. Before you know it, your grip around him and up against the knife hilt weakens, and your vision starts to close in. Everything goes dark. When the three of you awake, it is to the sound of seagulls, and the floor beneath you is not solid. You feel the waves of the sea. Aboard the deck of quite the decrepit ship, you have at least 15 to 20 embraced, and a couple of individuals you recognize from the inside of a bar. All of you have your hands tied from the back, and in front of you, everybody has a satchel about the size of a bowling bag, all in rotted, canvassed over, possibly cowhide, if it's even found on this part of the continent anymore. You do see something that resembles a humanoid shape wrapped up heavily in sheets, and on top there is a hood that lays across it, where the orbital areas of it are soiled, but rest across it. You also have several other individuals in all different types of garb that would resemble ship crew. However, the majority of them have these style hoods on. From behind you, you hear and then it just stops with the abrupt following sound of a heel clicking against wood, and you hear a voice emanate. "Ah, and who do we have here for the crew today?" And when I say today, again, the sky has not been illuminated in decades, and there are individuals that live in this world that don't even know what sunlight looks like. Possibly some of you. So, if anything, even though it is daytime, you would all know from residing in town, you can tell time here by the tides. But also, there is no moon out. Hence, out to sea, besides torchlight, it is extremely dark, which to you currently can tell it is some portion of a day.
Yeah, and how are we tied? Like, are we sitting with tied with our hands behind our backs, or
You're
we on
all
our
on
bellies? Like,
your knees, and your hands are tied from behind. You specifically realize that you do not have your helmet on. You do not have any armor on. Looking in front of you, you would see by the shape of a bag, you don't even have to roll to estimate all of your stuff has been shoved into said bag.
Do we see each other?
You're all lined up side by side. Let me roll a die. Okay, so Margar and Gigi are right next to each other, and then there's a couple of other pitiable individuals, and then our Lord Erm, and then 2 or 3 individuals after. But if you turn your head, you can see who's lined up.
Turn my head. Kind of ignoring what he says, I'll look at them and be like, did I get the fucker with the...
You most certainly did.
Hell yeah. Alright, somebody fucking untie me. What is this?
Oh, we have a lively one here. Is this our Lord and Savior I've been told about? Is this Lord Erm? And you hear several individuals laugh behind as you feel a sharp thrust of something that resembles driftwood slam into the back of your head. Go on, speak up, Lord.
You don't hit the head first. You get all disoriented, and you wanted me to talk. It's not a good combination.
Well, I didn't want you to talk. However, I could
just
tell
asked the
you like to
question.
talk. Yes, I did, but you didn't speak up quickly enough. And as my predecessor liked to chime in about you before, he croaked. He kindly reminded me to let you know that a pound of flesh shall be paid in full. And he points to the carcass that is wrapped up in a sheet in front of you that has a hood laying across its chest. Anything the 3 of you would like to say?
Well, I'm glad the pound wasn't taken off of me. Sucks to be him.
Is this a trial or is this just execution?
No,
It'd be nice
of course
if things
not.
were clear.
She does not believe in self-sacrifice, nor does she believe in suicide. She teaches all of us that you have a chance at salvation, and we do not choose to sacrifice anyone without choice. So all of you do have a choice here, and the crew starts to stand all of you up. And as you stand up, you look out over the shore, and you're about, I would say, 25 to 30 minutes from the shoreline. You can still see the city in full. You can see a mound of ships. But across the actual ocean landscape, in any other direction, you don't see any other landmass. A thing that stands out, however, and it's been rumored from people that are not sailors or sails savvy, there's always been some type of oddness with the shoreline outside Behil Bereth, for the simple fact that there's been openings in all sections of the sky and all sections of the ocean itself. By openings, I mean open gaps of air and space. So you can actually look over the side, and there's sections of ocean that you can see as far down as any torchlight will take you. It's almost cubed off. octagoned off, rectangled off. You don't know where it starts and where it ends. I'd like everybody to make a presence check.
Straight 19.
Ooh.
I rolled a 1, so
Ooh.
3 in total.
Roll the 16.
Shazam. For Margar and Gigi, you have heard rumors of something that resembled a labyrinth. However, you didn't know how it made any sense out in the ocean until you physically look over the side. And you now see there could be some type of maze here. However, it's not solid walls. It's walls of water. You don't know how it's possible. You don't know how it's standing, but it's physically before you. And as you look up, there's other sections from the sky at random points. As far as the eye can see, that water is pouring out of into the ocean. It's almost as if sections of your world are being displaced, like possibly a sign before the end of the world. If anybody's heavy into scripture, you may have heard something that semi-resembles this. A voice speaks again, and as they come out from behind you, you see the lower half of a leg missing in a pike and carved out of tripped wood, and a long 3/4 pea coat that is tattered, stained. The top of the head is bald, but still has a tie off, and the rest is covered up in a similar style mask. On top of his head, you can see multiple scarrings, but it doesn't seem like a regular type of blade. Out of the three of you, if you feel that you are very familiar with weapons or any type of cutting instruments, I would ask for you to make me a presence check.
Definitely gonna do that. A blade got me this far. Maybe it'll carry me a little further. 20 total.
20 total. You know specifically what made those cuts. Those are from fishing hooks. And fishing hooks that have either been caught and ripped or caught and removed as careful as possible. However, either way, there's always a scar. He walks a couple of more steps, turns, faces all of you, folds his arms behind his back and says, "Here resides Seigru. We knew him well. He served us well. He now gets hitched to the sea for final judgment of She." And a couple of other embrace come around, pick him up, toss him overboard. And then he looks over everyone that has stood up and says, "You have a choice. You may be tossed over the side and take your chances to make it back to shore, or you may choose to participate in our ritual. And before you ask, no, you are not here to be a sacrifice. That is not our way. We have those we sacrifice. The enchanted shall be judged in their time, but none of you are enchanted. So," and he motions up, and off the main ballast, there's a crane type of setup and a platform that can easily hold up to 10 people. The embraced line themselves up in front of each of you. And the individual who's speaking says, "Speak now if you wish to be tossed overboard. You shall not be seen as cowardly in she's eyes." And a couple of people step forward. There's obviously the ones that feel extremely brave. There's ones that have piss running down a leg. There's other ones that have tears, snot bubbles like, but I just came in to get a drink, but I don't deserve this. And all of those people that step forward, they are meagerly helped over to the side. Some of them choose to jump over on their own, other ones struggle against, but eventually all of them are tossed over. All but the three of you and one other. The other individual that chose to stay has an apron on, bald head, himself similarly covered in scars, but it doesn't seem like self-mutilation as it does wear and tear over the time at sea. And in his belongings, he does have a sack, but he also has something that resembles double the size of a quiver, and it seems custom made. He has pants that are cut off just below the knee, foot wraps, white tunic top, and a 5 o'clock shadow. A peg-legged individual turns and says, "Very good. Oh, should do quite nicely. All of you shall collect your belongings and step on the platform. Below, you will find nets, canvas bags, containers, anything that can hold sacrifice. You're all charged with bringing back 3 times your body weight in sacrifice." And he motions out to Hilbereth, and you have 3 days to make it back to the mainland. If you do, and if you deliver upon said weight, you will have served she well, and you shall be free to go. All of you have this chance. We do not control the fates. You control your destiny.
I weigh a lot, so 3 times my weight? I can't carry all that.
You do have 3 days. You can make multiple trips. Or you can always say, "Hey, screw this one-legged prick. I'm just gonna make a run for it," and you might actually make it out alive. However, these are our terms. You are well in your means to take your chances.
With my shit, though. Get my shit back, right?
It is all yours, as a couple of the embraced pick up your items and put it on to the platform. Everything you came on with shall go back with you. I have no need to take your items. If anything, we want you to succeed, for if you do, it will be in her name, and our city shall stand for another year.
Yeah, this coin pouch. I think I'm missing some silver.
Oh. We had to take your silver.
Well,
Or
fuck.
in her name, there are penances that have to be paid, and you did kill one of ours.
To be fair, he poisoned us first.
To be fair, I poisoned you. He just administered it. If you want to punish anyone, if you make it out of this alive, you can find me back at the Salty Bitch, and we can square up.
Whispering, not so much to Margar, be like, can we fucking kill him now?
I could, but I'm not sure about you. You seem to use those sneaky, shitty ways to kill people.
That's why I'm asking you.
Why would I do that for you?
Because be doing it for you, you fucking idiot.
As the two of you speak, the embraced start to shuffle the four of you onto the platform and items. When everyone is upon it, you do hear a clanking sound, and it starts to rise up as it's attached on by several hemp ropes. It turns out off to the side of the bow, and you are currently suspended above one of those open holes inside the sea. It doesn't seem like any water is pouring in. It just seems, if anything, still, and if waves are hitting, it's hitting up against something unnatural, unseen. The only other thing that accompanies you on said pedestal is an extra crate that has at least 15 to 20 torches. When everything is inside, the pedestal starts to lower down. And as it lowers down, you simply see the hooded figures looking over the side, and you are now left to your own devices as this roped platform is slowly lowered into the dark abyss. You are all currently untied, able to go through your items. Everyone has everything except for Erm's silver.
Okay. Putting on his gear. And he's like, ching, ching, ching. He's like, I still have my silver.
I have my weapons, that's all I need. The only thing that would have been nice was having some kind or other of silver. But apparently, the only way we pay now is with the soul, well, physical bodies of the victims we kill.
So all we gotta do is just bring back bodies?
You see the other individual that's on the platform with you, and for some reason, he doesn't seem stressed out at all. He just goes through his items. He starts pulling out several types of filleting knives, splitting knives. He seems, as he goes through his items, a fisherman by trade. And as he opens up that custom quiver case that I described, it seems like 2 or 3 different types of heavy-duty custom fishing rods. He overhears you speak and he says, "We shall not be killing anyone, or at least anyone human."
So,
And how do you know?
I know this because I've done this several times already.
why would anyone do this more than once?
Let's just say I'm here to serve she, and when I pass on, I shall be saved for all of the time and effort I'm putting in. As he seems to be taking some type of, you would think it was like maybe really heavy duty fish ribs that he's made into at least 2 dozen types of hooks, and he takes out a specific type of knife and he's carving the very ends of them to make sure they're sharp.
Recalling the way the body looked, on the deck, Sigurd's body, and he's like, "Was Sigurd your handiwork?"
Oh no. Sigurd was brought on board by several embraced. And I was told he met an unfortunate accident inside Salty Bitch.
Shoots a look at Erm.
It's really unfortunate.
Yeah. Costly, too. That one cost you silver.
I take it this is all of your first times.
Oh, yes.
So what are we up against?
You may call me Rem. And
Rem.
who do I have the pleasure of speaking to? As he looks at all of you.
Ladies first.
Oh, suddenly we're a gentleman. My name at birth is Giant Seals the Sky, but Gigi is also acceptable.
Look at this. My bottle is almost empty. That's wild.
Yeah, that sucks. Especially when you don't have silver to refill it. I'm Margar.
And I heard you were called some type of lord. Are you royalty?
Gigi side eyes Erm.
For some royalty.
Well, I don't know who would put themselves in this type of predicament, being of such stature. So either you are royal and royally fucked, or you are a fool.
I believe it's the latter. Sorry, the former.
Forgive me for coming to such unpleasantries. However, I've been on several of these. Not many have made it back alive, but it is possible. So, just to give you all an idea of what you're up against, many things that will be down here are not natural or anything you've probably ever heard of before, unless you have some type of seafaring experience.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
You
Took a
see,
bath once. Is it like that?
as you're conversating, the canvas bag that Rem has, it starts to glow. And it seems like a luminescence almost. When he reaches into it, he has some type of hemp roped, woven bag on the interior that has several types of sea conchs, and they're coated in some type of gelatinous, luminescent material that gives off this iridescent light. As he pulls it out, at least 15 to 20 feet around you on this 10 by 10 foot platform is illuminated as you continue to be lowered. He does set it down onto the deck. He turns, he reaches into his side, pulls out a foot of steel, pulls a torch, and lights it. And he reaches out to give it to one of you. Make sure when we get to the base, there's going to be several sconces. We have to put out sparingly enough light to get back to the mainland.
So, just a little bit of light, not too much to draw attention.
No, you can have as much attention as possible. It is a ways back to the mainland. Don't fret. I know the path to get back. However, we do have to make sure to keep an eye out from anything that lunges out.
Like,
And as he says that, you come into a cavernous open area that is probably 35 by 50 feet. And at the center of it, there's an area that seems to be a place that has been previously worked out that the pedestal lands upon. And then off to the right, there is almost a platform that has been made of all different pieces of ship. And as you look around, anything that is solid that is down here that is not made of coral reef, barnacles, or any type of stone is something that's been scavenged off a ship and repurposed. So this altar has two posts that come out in the shape of a V and a third that lays across it. Across the V, up each side, there's several straps. As the platform hits, Rem gets out, automatically goes to the platform, and he starts to rig himself up in his harness, and he starts strapping his legs in. And as he turns and he picks up a third piece, he slides it into a slot that goes straight up, bracing up against his spine. He starts to set up one of his reels, and as he pulls it out of the case, it seems custom made from some type of bone, and then silver currency hollowed out rings, and a very thick, the very end of it, the previously mentioned enlarged fish hook. And he goes into his bag and he pulls out something. It's not exactly chum, it's not exactly seaweed, you're not exactly sure what it is, but it stinks to holy high hell. I need everybody to make me a toughness check.
13.
7.
That is a 15.
Lord I'm actually going to allow you to add a couple of extra points to that roll, because I know you have quite the expensive perfume on.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say,
yeah,
I do have exquisite perfume on.
that could be masking said stench, but as it abruptly hits nostrils before it's overtaken by said perfume, it smells like rotting death. It smells like fish that could have been in that bag at least 2 to 3 weeks, mixed in with God knows what. The other two, you hold your ground, but it stinks. It is horrid. Absolutely horrid.
Oh, suppose that attracts the fish? Or the thing we're trying to get?
It does its job.
And how?
Anything that's attracted to that smell can't be good.
He swaps it on to the end of the hook. So, just to let you all know, keep an eye on anything that is not solid, because things have lunged out from the ocean. And I have found things that crawl out on its own, but normally, if we find things large enough and kill them and properly store them and remove them, we are able to get out of here at least with 24 hours left over.
And which way do we go back? We gotta keep going this way? Or
Well,
we don't go back the way we came, right?
if I told you where to go, you would probably leave me here. Now wouldn't you? As he leans back and he casts. And anything that knows anything about fishing, normally when you're casting off a shore, casts arcs, and it plops into the water. When Rem casts, it seems to go completely straight, and as it hits the water, it continues to go straight, and you see the actual reel unreal, as in it's continuing to go straight. I suggest all of you, if you have weapons, to pull them. And he starts to do his thing. He's reeling back. He's letting it out. He's tugging. He's dragging it across. Everybody has 2 actions to prepare or do whatever they want.
I'm gonna take a swig from my flask, and as an errant fool, that gives me a +2 to my rolls and -2 to my presence.
So that would be a +2 to all rolls except for presence.
Mm-hmm. I would get a -2 to my presence rolls, and then draw my sword. I'm not gonna be sober for this.
Margar, what do you do?
Yeah, Margar just goes to his side and he pulls out his axe. And he's looking around at the environment, and it's like literally walls of water, right?
Yep. And when you look up, if you're lucky, you could catch a glimpse of the night sky from this angle in a very tight octagon-esque shape.
And just based on where Rem cast the his hook,
Mhm.
he's gonna go to the is he like moving where that line is?
He's
Or does
attempting.
it seem like it's like one spot?
It seems he's attempting to fan it out a bit to see if he actually attracts anything. He hasn't had anything visually extremely pull hard on it.
Half the distance from where Rem cast and where the water wall is, Margar kind of paces back and forth. Like, so if the line is here, Margar's here. When he brings the line over here, he crosses over to the other side. So he's placing himself opposite of where the line is.
So,
And he's given a little bit of distance between wall of water and where Rem is.
just to clarify, you have a weapon in one hand.
Yep.
And a torch in your other hand.
Correct, yeah. I'm
And
holding onto that torch.
you have a second action. So, are you going to do anything extra with that torch?
Well, the whole point was to...
You currently have the only other source of light inside here besides that thing that's inside Rem's satchel. And it's right next to him.
No, he's gonna hang on to that, like, this might be another form of weapon.
Okay.
So, he'll wave that if he needs to. And I'll be right back.
Giant seals of Hamoon. You have before you an individual strapped up in a E-shaped harness, not in a good way. You have a crate full of at least 15 to 20 torches. You have that has chose to take a swig and ready themselves. You have Margar that has a weapon in one hand, torch in the other hand, following the line that was cast in the wall. What are you doing?
She is going to take position because Rem had said to keep an eye on the other locations, so wherever anyone else is not looking, she's got eyes on. And she has sword in hand.
Very well. So, how combat works for anybody not familiar. It starts out with a d6 that is rolled by me. 1 through 3. The enemy in question, or enemies, go first. 4 through 6, the party goes first. If it is 4 through 6, all of you shall roll me a agility check, and in order of roll, that's how we shall determine your initiative. So, I'm going to roll a d6. And I got a 4. So, the 3 of you shall be going first. To extend this out, since our friend has stepped away, choose to make said rolls. And obviously, whatever Margar rolls, he shall be placed in the initiative order appropriately. Tell me what you get.
17.
17.
Huh, I rolled a 5.
5. So for now, we'll start out with that 17. Upon casting, it takes several minutes, but eventually you hear the tight squeal of a spool start to flare out, and the creaking of wood as Rem steadies hold onto said rod and starts to crank in. And as he cranks in, you see the top of the rod start to bend, sway a little bit from whatever's being pulled in on that other side. And again, the creaking of said wood is becoming heavier and heavier. As 30 seconds to a minute goes by, you start to see what resembles a globulous, gelatinous almost sense of form, but it doesn't actually have a shape. If anything, it's very amoeba protozoa-esque, but it comes out to half the size of a Chevy Nova being pulled out from a wall. So roughly about 5 to 6 feet tall by 7 to 8 feet wide. And his hook is heavily lodged in at least some portion of the center of it. When it gets pulled out, there's at least 7 to 10 appendages that try to reach out, lash out. Some of them are thick and short. Some are thin, whip-like. It doesn't seem to have any type of head and or eyes. It just seems to be this unnatural, eldritch sort of form. You have first attack. Margar, please roll me a agility check.
Yeah. Oh, my worst. And that is a 15 on the die, so a total of 19.
Ooh. So, I already gave that description to so for this round, I shall go first. Followed by Margar, but then the following round, Margar shall go first.
What is that? I don't swing his sword wildly.
Roll me strength.
No form. Alright. Strength is a -3. Oh wait, no, a -1 because I took the drink. So that is a 15.
You hit.
Hell yeah.
As you slice into its form, there is a split, but nothing comes out of it.
6 damage.
It seems almost like a gelatinous type of slice. Margar, quick summary. Rem cast it into the wall. What he pulled out was something amoeba protozoa-like, but the size of a small car.
Yeah.
As it got pulled in, it has at least a dozen appendages that are whipping about wildly. You see swing wildly out of nowhere. What do you do?
He is going to run up to, he's not seeing a head on this thing, right? It's just like a mass.
It is a
Like
mass.
blob.
Yes.
It's a blob, a mass,
A
no
blob.
head. Oh, hey, we're looking weird. Okay.
You're all good.
He is going to assume that he can lop off some of these appendages. So he's going to take a swing at the closest one and hope that he's got some advantage from not being directly in front of it.
Are you swinging at it with a weapon or a torch?
No, definitely the weapon.
Okay. Roll it up.
Miss. 20 for the attack, right?
Hmm?
I rolled a 16 on the die.
You hit.
So it's just the damage of the axe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. Gotta get used to my fancy new duck dice.
Odd duck dice.
Okay. Rolled a 9 on the die.
9 on the die. When you slice into it, if it was to be able to make any type of sound, what you hear from deep inside its center mass can only be attributed to some type of bubbling or gurgling, if that. But you definitely landed a mighty hit.
And I was aiming for any appendage. So is it still on?
At this point, it is hanging on by a chin hair, if that, but still flopping around aimlessly.
Alright. He just yells out, "Fuck yeah! Gonna take that thing with me."
GG.
Gigi is going to go in swinging with her sword.
Going swinging. Roll it up.
I just rolled a 17.
17 hits. Roll your damage, please.
And I believe the damage is, because I wrote it in there as well, be a d4 for a short sword, correct?
Yeah.
That's what I wrote in there at the very least. I wrote all the information so I didn't have to go digging for it.
That's very smart.
Sorry, am I adding anything else?
That's it.
Okay, I rolled a 2.
2. 2 damage. When you swing, you clip the end of an appendage that does go flying off, but you don't hear any after effects besides the slopping sound it has as it hits the sandy floor. It now swings at all of you. So, unless you are actively taking a hit, I ask all of you to roll an agility. You can tell me what you get.
21, not 20!
Ooh,
Nice.
6.
6.
Oh.
11 total.
11. So, and Margar, the both of you still have 3 omens. You may choose to spend an omen to re-roll.
Yes.
Alright.
I'm not holding the gun yet, you know?
No, I know.
I rolled another 6.
So, there is no limit. You may choose to spend another omen, but it would bring you down to 1.
I'll take the hit, see how bad it is before I
Yeah,
start
that's what I was
burning all the
thinking before.
omens.
That's what I was thinking before.
What
But on my
did you
reroll,
roll,
I rolled.
Margar?
Yeah, I rolled a reroll was a 16, so a 20, a dirty 20
Very
on
nice.
the total.
Dirty, dirty. So, the two of you avoid hits. Not so much. So, as this massive protozoa swings, it hits into your shoulder. And as it does, when it goes to pull back, you go flying upward. As in, you feel something stick to you, and then when it pulls back, it has a pull as if a vehicle is pulling away. So, I get to make a couple of rolls. First, let's see, is to see if you actually get sucked in to said protozoa.
Oh boy.
And I rolled a 15. So, you begin to get sucked inside. At least 3/4 in. You may choose if it is on bottom side first or top side first.
Say bottom side first.
Okay. So, 3/4, you're probably from neck to arm that's still sticking out of this thing. And then there is a D6 damage. 4. And anything that is inside the massive protozoa now, you feel an intense burning, almost acidic.
Terrific. Does that damage me or no?
So, you don't have armor. You
No.
currently had 5 hit points, so 4 damage brings you to 1. Unless you choose to spend an omen, which you can half the current damage.
Go ahead and do that. That seems wise.
Okay. So, take 2 damage. You are currently at 3 with your
Yes.
head, and I'll let you pick. Left arm or right arm still sticking out.
Left arm.
And left arm still sticking out. The two of you see he lifted up, flopped over, and at least 3/4 of his lower half are sucked inside of this amoeba-esque deep sea abomination. Top of the second round, we switch around. Margar goes first.
Get him out of there.
Margaret's like, fuck, gonna swallow his whole. But he runs up and he's like, and he reaches out with one hand. He quickly sheathes his axe. Like he drops it into its holster, into his frog, and he grabs Erm's arm. And with the other hand, with the torch, he just starts to burn around the creature, just to
Very
see
nice.
if it might let him go.
Roll me a strength. Since it doesn't really have a speed that can dodge. This is mainly to see where on it it's actually hitting. If it's hitting it, or if it's hitting something closer to Erm. So
Hitting her.
difficulty 6.
On the strength?
Oh no, to hit it.
Oh, to hit it.
So,
so
You only
Am I
have to get
rolling?
a 6 or higher.
to hit it. Okay. Rolled a 13 on the die.
So you start poking around with the flame. You do notice anything that the flame touches, it seems to harden and encrust over its outer area. Because obviously this thing is meant to be underwater, and it's currently in a try and environment as it is, so it's not used to flame at all. It does seem to kind of stave off. I am going to allow to make an agility check, difficulty 14, to attempt to pull himself free if he can.
What'd you roll?
10.
10. So, you struggle. You're attempting. It is futile at this point. You do
You know what?
feel
I'll roll my last omen. Let's see.
rolling your last omen.
1 on the dice.
Oh, God.
I will
Yes.
say, omens are exchangeable, so other people can hand off an omen if you choose
That
to.
is true. I'll give up an omen.
You don't need to now.
Yeah, but he just yells out, "Hold your breath! Suck in your breath, make yourself skinny!" And he's pulling on you.
13.
Son of a bitch. You can choose to spend an omen to increase a roll by 6.
That'll be my last omen. I will use it.
Alright. So,
So that makes it a
the
19.
13 is a 19. And
Alright.
upon distraction of the creature, seems to slide themselves out and they fall to the floor. Any area that was touched and absorbed in, you see the clothing is at least 50% on now. And it seems like acidic burns are across any exposed areas on Erm. It is Erm's turn.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna try to swing at it again. Hopefully, we can kill it before.
You are more than
Drop.
welcome to.
Right, the dice hate me tonight, so 2.
And I like that. I enjoy that. So, you go to swing. It's almost like you're still in shock after falling out of monstrosity. You go just to swing wildly. Completely misses. GG. You're up.
Right. Second burst, same as the first.
Hmm.
Swish. Clean. And I rolled a 15.
15 hits.
4. There we go. We're
4.
in the-
As you strike, seemingly from its attention on Margar and Erm, you hit some back area, and as your blade sticks in, it seems to almost tense up, and for the first couple of seconds it's hard for you to pull out said blade, but then it seems to almost collapse. And as it's on its side, if anything, there's residual movement, but you're pretty sure it's dead.
I think we got our first one.
First one, no, we're done. That's it.
Well,
What's the matter?
Maybe.
Little gelatin get you down? You actually see a smile come across her face. Something that maybe you've seen her do before.
Rem cuts off his line. He reels in, and he starts to unstrap himself.
so So what were you gonna do, Rem, if that thing decided to attack you? You were all strapped up.
I take my chances. Not my first time. However,
Yeah,
I'd rather
as long
take
as
my
you're
chances
suckers like
here,
us.
where I can breathe, than be sucked into the abyss.
Yeah. Like Irma's almost. And he looks at Irma and he's like, get up.
No, I want to lie down here for a little bit more.
Come on, you sack of shit, get up.
I wouldn't recommend it, but you did pull in a heavy haul, so I'm assuming, and he eyes Margar. This is well over 3 times you. And then turns over to Chiji. This thing could probably equal 2 of you, and at least a little of him, and he points at Arm. We have found something extraordinary here. I have never had a pull like this before, ever. So, we might have a chance of getting out of here early. And he heads over to it. He actually starts to carve it up. He seems to have these heavy canvas gloves on, and behind the area that the podium was on, there is a hole, and inside said hole there is a satchel, and he's pulling out several types of nets, other smaller canvas bags, and as he's carving up this abomination, he's putting as much into it for transport as possible.
If at all possible, Gigi's also going to help as well. This is sort of right up her alley. Kind of a wild kind of person.
Okay. So you
He wants to.
dig right in as much as you can. Rem holds out a hand, and he reaches to his apron. He pulls off the bottom half, and then tears it in half, and he says, "Wrap these around both of your hands. Anything that gets stuck to this, it will probably sting." And he hands it over to you. And you two,
Here's like she's done this a million times, and digs right in.
you two continue carving up. You're pretty burned. Do you have any items or anything that you can do as far as home healthcare, or possibly any scrolls, anything?
No, I have poisons and food and drink.
So, even though you're out of the fray, you do feel quite burned over to the equivalent of probably a 2nd degree burn on any exposed areas. Any other areas that are not exposed, the clothing is at least tattered. Margar, you still have a torch in your other hand. What are you doing?
He's looking around. Anything around here other than the platform that that Rem had strapped himself to?
If you choose to walk around, torchlight gives off about 15 to 20 feet in all directions. You do find 2 or 3 separate pathways that you could easily take. One in particular leads down a very long, straight and narrow, and about 100 yards off, you see a torch.
I guess that's the way to go.
It's still, it doesn't seem like it's being held by anyone, but it's too far off to know.
And he turns back and he says, "How long before we can leave, Rem?"
Well, if we have enough to satisfy the embraced, you can leave as soon as we take our fill. However, if you choose to run, you could probably make it back in half a day.
I didn't kill that thing for nothing.
I have to make every assumption. I've had people run before. However, I've never seen them again. As he continues to carve up.
You seem pretty resigned to this.
I believe she is our savior. However, I know that the scriptures are not fully intact. I had a brother who could read them quite well. Had a brother. He chose to feel he had the necessities to seek out redemption. He had a belief, like many in our world, that there is a hidden code, some type of message inside the scriptures. As in, there might be a way to stop the oncoming end of times. Me? I don't believe such things. I'm ready to meet said maker, and so far, I've been doing pretty good for myself.
Seems like.
As he reaches
Well, we
in,
all gotta-
I'm sorry for your loss, though it might have been many years ago.
he takes out some of the actual chum. He starts chewing on it as he continues to carve. Oh, it was several years ago. However, I still mourn him.
What was your brother's name?
Sid,
Listen. Well, he made a poor choice. I'm not gonna make another one, so we bring this back, and if it's not enough, we do it again.
we will see. And after everything is as bagged up as it possibly can be for anything that's actually salvageable, because you see as he starts to carve it up, there's portions of it that actually start to dissolve. Anything that was left towards the center mass seems to be like its core, and he didn't actually even attempt to carve at it, because if he did, he would entrench his hands enough that it would start to dissolve the gloves. So he took about 60 to 65% of it. Anything else that got left over seems like a comparison to a gelatinous, rotted over apple. And as it dissolves, it just starts to sink into the sand. So you have about 12 to 14, I want to say 30-gallon garbage bag size satchels. You go to pick these things up if you are going to physically carry them and put them over your shoulders. Each of you, except for can probably hold 2 at a time. When Rem stands and he starts to head down a certain pathway to Margar's unsurprised attention, it is down that same path I had a torch at the end of it. The area that you are led to, if you choose to follow Rem, is a secondary area that has a similar platform and a similar stand. The items are loaded up onto another 10 by 10. And there's a bell that's hanging off of the side of the house. Loads it up. He rings the bell, and the platform starts to come up. And if you look up, at least 200 to 250 yards up, you do see in the far, far distance things that could resemble torches. You're assuming there's a ship or two up there that is hauling stuff out.
Oh, I know where I'm going. Get this thing over with.
After 2 or 3 trips of doing that, everything that got previously netted or tagged up is up and lifted out. Rem gathers his equipment. He lights a torch, and he continues on. Is anybody doing anything before they continue on?
Nope.
All right. You continue to follow Rem, and it's at least a couple of hours. There's winding turns, there's hills. When you proceed past these pathways, if anybody has taken a torch, which you can all say that you choose to now, or just follow Rem, anywhere that is illuminated, you see into the sea. You see things that are swimming by, you see seaweed patches, you see coral patches. There's certain areas you have to physically climb over. There's certain areas you have to attempt to traverse around. You are traversing what seems to be the bottom of the endless sea. There are portions where, out of nowhere, you have sudden amounts of water that come from above, and at other times, it seems like continuous waves of something from above that just happened to fall into a hole that continuously poured out.
So like walking past a waterfall kind of situation.
Gosh.
Like what we're walking on is like not dry necessarily, but like wet-ish, and then all of a sudden,
Yes.
like water comes down on us.
If anything, it is rock or sand or sediment. Something
That we're
in...
walking on.
Yeah.
Or coral or whatever.
Yeah. So after a couple of hours, you do come to a secondary similar area that has an even larger mound of driftwood, pieces of ships, anchors, just stuff tied off together, put into the center, and a similar stand and mount, but there's actually 2 stands off of this one. He goes to get into one stand and starts to strap himself up. What's everybody doing?
Same as before, getting ready. Except I think this time, Gigi's gonna store away her sword and have her crossbow out for distance.
All right. Changing up tactics.
Try and both stuff out.
Yeah. Margar.
But we're not guaranteed we're gonna face the same kind of creature, right? So, being a little different.
Well, I mean, Margar, you seem sturdier and have a bit more life force to you. I don't seem to have that much. Figure at the distance, I can either neutralize it or at least knock it down and get it to your level, perhaps.
Sounds good. Don't shoot me in the back.
You have my word.
All right, good.
She says that she has sort of a sternness of just like she's not kidding. You could believe her if you wanted to.
What about you, What are you doing? You gonna fucking stay on your feet this time?
Yeah, Erm's cowering in the back. Yes, I am going to lead from behind.
Oh, yeah? What do you got that you can use that might deliver some poison? Yeah, maybe give some poison to Gigi. Maybe it'll help, you know?
I
Dip an
don't have
arrow.
anything to assist in it, or paralyzation at the very least.
Can't do a vial of the similar poison that's black. It's like 2/3 filled.
And this is?
Poison.
Oh, okay then. And she's going to take one of her crossbow bolts and dip it into the liquid. Seal it up. You can load it up. Just have it ready to go.
Margar?
He's gonna take the same tactic. He's just gonna see where Rem casts the line, put himself in the middle distance, and just kind of get ready. He's gonna hang on to the torch, but he's looking around like, if I want to just like jab this into the ground and leave it there so I can get a free hand, he will. So if he sees something, he'll take care of that. He'll do that, and then he pulls out the axe, and he's just checking himself. He's like, yeah, well, maybe. What do you got left, You got anything good to drink?
He's like rifling through his no.
Useless.
See him take a swig of the alcohol.
Fucking liar, too.
That's what I like about you, Margar. You don't mince words. What you mince is the thing in front of us.
That's the goal. We'll see.
As Rem is sharpening another hook, prepping before he casts. I take it all of you know each other.
Yeah. We've been here, how long? Maybe, 5, 6 hours? Yeah, we're old friends.
This is the longest we've gone without any kind of fights or breakout happening.
You've been in town about 5 months, give or take. You've been together about 3 years on and off.
As I said, this is the first time that there's no any kind of fight breaking out.
It's the first time I've been down here, though.
Well, you obviously haven't been in town in a season prior to this. It seems anyone that fends into the salty bitch ends up on these trips. Hence, even though it tends to get tons of business throughout the year during this time, some people forget, some people get too drunk, some people have a death wish.
Is that what you have, Rem?
No, I wouldn't call it a death wish. Again, I'm just looking to find my savior, and I know if I put in enough effort, it shall pay off.
Yeah. Well, looks like you're trying to speed up the process.
I'll take my chances. You stated you were going to be leading from behind. So the space you've entered is about a 25 to 30 foot mound of stuff that currently has 2 altars on it. The altar on the right has the platform that Rem is currently strapping himself into. The other one has a similar altar and a similar casing that has a couple of spare torches and a hole in the center area that has some sort of makeshift storage area. You can only assume has more nets, canvas bags, whatever else. What position do you plan on taking here, or what tactic?
If I see there's stuff in the hole, I'm gonna check it out.
You step up, and inside said hole, there is an old chest, and it doesn't have a lock on it, so you can choose to open it up.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, along with the previously stated nets and bags and such, you do have what seems to be belongings of past individuals. Make me 3d6 rolls.
2 4s and a 2.
2 4s and a 2. You find a hilt of a sword that seems to be at least 50% silver. You also find a skull that's had its top half carved out. That seems to be more of some type of ornament, or could be something that can hold storage in itself, and it has a large silver ring that's implanted into it that could easily fit onto a belt. The third item you find is a pouch that has several carved engravings on it. The bottom half of it is ripped out.
I'm looking at all of this. It's a bunch of shit. I throw the sword to Margar and the pouch to Rose.
Margar, you have... It isn't a sword, it's just a hilt. So,
What is this for?
you have this thing hurled at you.
Just a fucking hilt.
Yeah, but it's mostly made of silver. I'm trying to say thank you, piece of shit.
And he's like he's just swinging it like, is there any weight to it other than just the hilt?
Nope, just a hilt.
And he'll take it and he puts it into his backpack. He just just chucks it in there. All right, well, I'll sell it in town.
As you hear Rem, if you make it back,
Yeah. Well, if she blesses us, then yeah, I'll sell it in town.
I think we're getting the hang of it now.
we have a convert, as he smirks, looking up at you.
Look, right now, she's the one helping us, right? At least that's what you say.
I believe so.
So, pray to the one that's helping you at the moment.
You may end up seeing what I see after all of this. As reels back, and he casts. And currently, for several minutes, you don't have anything.
Anything else useful in there,
As far as
I handed the patches to the pouch to Rose Gigi.
The pouch. It seems something the same size as a coin pouch. However, the bottom half is ripped out, and on the actual face of it, I would like you to make me a presence check.
Below me.
Yeah.
7.
7. You didn't need to go that high. However, you can tell
It's funny.
the pouch is made out of human skin.
That's neat.
Tanned over, but thin enough. It is flexible enough. The actual engravings on it, for anybody that has ever heard of or seen a scripture, has several carvings on it. This could have been left behind by a holy man. This could have been a sacrifice tossed into the sea and just possibly made its way out over here. The bottom half of it could have been torn out by a multitude of things.
What do you know? A literal flesh sack. Anyone know what these things mean? And she points to the markings on them.
Two of you can feel
Margar.
free to make a presence check.
Margar leans in.
18.
And 22. 11 on the die.
18 and a 22. For the 5 months the trio of you have spent here, you do notice that even though these things are carved in to the tan skin, they're carved in a mutilation type of pattern. So you can only tend to assume this came off of one of the embraced.
Shit. Yeah, I guess, once they're dead, you gotta make them useful somehow, so why not a sack?
Also, where did you get this flesh sack?
Don't worry about it. I'm gonna inspect my skull in the ring.
In the last 5 months, every time you say don't worry about it, I tend to worry about it.
Yeah.
I got an 18 on my
18. It's a skull.
I'm sorry, a 20, a dirty 20.
Well, dirty or clean or dry or wet, it is a skull. And it just so happens somebody implanted a ring, so it looks like some type of ornament or prize that somebody felt worthy enough of hanging off of a belt, possibly the top of a staff, anything that had a hook apparatus.
Yeah. I'm gonna put it on my belt. Feel fancy.
Well, Rem reels in. As he reels in, you see a form come through the water. White, whisking about, maybe half the size of a human torso. Let's make a roll. We'll see who goes first. 1. So they go first. When Rem pulls it from a watery wall, it arcs up for several seconds. It's straight down into the sand, and all of you see the top half torso with white rags still whisked around it of your comrade from the salty bitch that was tossed overboard.
Oh shit.
So that's what happens to you.
The bottom half, it doesn't seem like it's been torn off. It doesn't seem like it's been bitten off. It's just gone.
So, no rags of skin, no, like, tattering, like, no, like, it just, like, it's just gone. Like,
It seems a
the flesh
clean cut.
Do we see, like, the innards, or just does it look like it
You
just
see the
ends?
innards.
Oh, you see the innards. Okay.
But it seems like it's just a clean cut, like something sliced right through this. Nothing extra hanging besides the shroud it was encased in.
The only time I see something like that was somebody cut in half from a Zweihander.
Rem cuts his line, puts his reel in, goes to attach another hook. It is a sorry shame.
Well,
Waste of a hook.
does that count?
You can choose to. However, I would not. I
Why
have
not?
I have not personally brought in anything human.
Alright. Well, so leave it.
As he's hitting his reel and he starts to thread a line into the hook, everybody make me their initiative rolls.
7.
6.
9.
First one to notice it is Margar. And at least a minute or two after the top half of corpse is pulled through, you start to see several other corpses. Literal. Bloated, zombied corpses. Walk from the wall of water, and they attempt to go after top half again. When they put hands upon it and start to attempt to tear it apart, they pause and start to look around, and then they look at all of you. And then start to come at you. So, Margar, you currently have 2 of them coming at you. You, however, had to act first.
He, wherever he jammed in the torch, he puts himself behind the torch, so they gotta come past the torch to get at it.
Okay.
He's thinking, maybe that'll stop them.
Is that your action?
He,
I would
he's
count
gonna-
the torch thing as a minor action. Oh.
well, he had done that before. Like, he, like, when he saw a good place to, like, just, slam the torch in,
Yep.
he didn't want to hold it anymore. He wanted a free hand. So he had jammed in the torch. It's like, in some gravel or whatever. So now he's got himself, the torch, 2 zombies, and he's basically like, he switches hands, he puts the axe in the other hand, and he draws out his blade, and he's gonna huck the blade at one of them at a distance.
You roll it up?
Right. Well, it's a knife, right? So,
Are you chucking it or are you swinging it?
no, he's throwing that.
Then it
He's
would be.
throwing that. He's
uh,
throwing that knife. Like, he's gonna use it as a ranged weapon.
Then it would be presence.
Right?
Yep.
19 on the die.
Hits. Left or right? You had two of them coming at
the
you.
two of them? Let's see. Right is one. The right side. And
And
it's
some damage.
It's a D4 on that. 1 point of damage.
Yes.
You have one that is coming at you, flailing.
Going to flail back at it with my sword.
All right, pull it up.
Um, 13.
Hits.
Hell yeah.
Roll me some damage.
2.
TG. You have one coming at you, lumbering. So it seems extremely floated over, almost having to drag one of its feet behind it.
I'm gonna take a shot at it with the crossbow bolt that is poison.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that is a nat 20 on that one.
You hit.
Ooh. Ooh, that's a D8. Just a 5 on that one.
Roll me two d8s.
Like one more D8 or just
Yeah.
2? I'll roll one more. Oh, 6.
How much total?
That'd be 11.
You shoot, and it literally puts a hole right center mass of its head. Drops to the ground. If you choose to reload, it'll take a turn. Rem has one coming at him. Is attempting to start to climb up a mound. I would like Margar, to make me defensive rolls, so agility.
Fuck.
TG's is already dead.
1.
One.
Jesus. I rolled a 2. Not much better. 2, so a total of 6.
Roll me a d4 for damage for the both of you.
Four.
Now I get the 4.
Okay. Margar is down to 10.
Yeah.
Is down to -1.
Oh,
Yes.
fucker.
So, I'm gonna ask you to make me a d4 roll. I have to look up the other 3, but I'll tell you automatically if you roll a 4 again.
Yeah,
You're
I
dead.
did.
Did you?
Yeah.
So you rolled the same. Wait, so the rule is
On a broken roll, you roll a d4. If you roll a 4, it's automatic F. So, you both see as a zombie goes to reach out, a hand onto the shoulder, the other hand hips right into his midsection, and then just starts to pull.
Don't touch me. I'm going up.
And then you start to see intestine and organs be ripped out. And as Erm's body falls knees first, looking at the two of you, Erm, give us some last words.
Lord, you can't do this to me.
And the zombie lunges forward, face first, into yours, taking out a full chunk, and then starts to chow down on it.
Hell yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Welcome to Mork Borg.
And your backup character, Rem. You now play Rem.
So, since we do have a little bit of time left, if you want to roll up another character really quick, you are completely allowed to, while the other two continue combat. So, we now change over to a new initiative order, which cuts out Erm. Margar,
Yep.
one of your comrades has just fallen before you. Make me a presence check.
Fucking Erm, I told you. You should have worshipped she today. Total of 15.
15. You hold your composure as you literally see him start to be torn limb from limb. And as you turn to your left, you see another zombie overtake Rem. Now he is strapped in.
Yeah.
So, since he's attempting to fight him off, all you hear is screaming, and he
From
can't
Rem?
run. Yes.
Yeah.
So you see a chunk that comes out of his neck,
Oh,
and
fuck.
blood just starts spurting from under his ear and comes all the way down his arm as he screams out in pain to the point the voice just goes hoarse and his eyes roll to the back of his head. This zombie is chowing down on him like he's meat on the shish kebab right now. What do you do, Mark?
Margar is like, well, GG, we know where we can go. Follow the fucking torches. Leave everybody behind. Come back if we can. But, so there's 1, 2 coming towards me.
Yep.
2 chowing down, and there's 1 on her.
No, she killed hers.
No, she killed hers. So, let's go.
Are you performing an action since 2 of them are still coming at you? You can still choose to attack.
The one that I had already hit and took a little bit of damage,
Yep.
he heads towards that one, and he's just going to swing at that one as he's trying to get past it.
Roll it up.
Yeah. 14 on the die.
You hit.
Great. Six damage.
He goes down. You almost practically decapitate.
Let's go.
Chi-Ji, you see 2 out of the 4 of your party go down in a bloody heap, and
And now there's
Margar
only- there's
fighting off 2. Erm's eyes fell on you right before he collapsed. Please make me a presence roll.
Oh,
You make it. You huckled down, you hold it all in, even though you weren't the best of friends. You did survive together for the past couple of years. It's hard to find people that actually survive in these times. Even for who had their tendencies of powering, conniving, poisoning, but was a survivor. What do you do?
If Margar is heading her direction, you see her just stand completely still. Emotionless, you can't read anything over her face, which is her typical resting non-read. Unheard by anyone except to herself, she just says to herself, she takes to their side. We need to get out of here now.
That's what I said. Let's go.
Are you reloading said crossbow or just up and taking off?
Full tilt, just taking off.
Okay. The two of you take off down the nearest entranceway that has a torch. And in tow, besides that single zombie that Margar still had on him, you hear several other splashes come through a wall from the area that you were just in, and it sounds like several sets of semi-running footsteps. Please make me agility checks. We're gonna call this a free-turn process.
Are we rolling 3 times or?
Yes.
Oh, well, it's 3 times?
Okay. 21. 21. 6.
What'd you get, Margar?
7, 14, 19.
The 7 from Margar, he still had that leftover zombie in tow. So I would like you to make me a D20 roll and add 2. Tell me what you get.
9 on die, so 11.
You feel a rush of air as if something was swinging just behind your head. But it just missed as you continue running. Down the second length, you make a sharp left and another straightaway. You both make some headroom. You duck down around a corner, semi-rush up a hill that's made of coral, and you actually see several torches at the end of this straightaway. PG, based off your final roll, out of nowhere, coming out of a wall of sea, a random bloated hand comes out from the wall. Please roll me a D20 and add 2.
10 on the die plus 2, it's
12
12.
hits. You are grabbed around your head, start to be pulled into the wall. Margar, you see PG be randomly grabbed and start being pulled in. You have an opportunity to pull her out because you are close enough. You still hear several sets of footsteps running behind you in hot pursuit.
He is, he's gonna take the opportunity to, stop and grab and try to oppose that pulling arm.
Roll me a strength check.
11 on the die, so a total of 24.
I got a natural 20.
Fuck!
Plus 2 is only a 22.
Oh.
So, you manage after she goes about waist waves in after a pretty decent struggle to rip her from the wall. TG, as you come over there, you're gasping for air. And as you were pulled in, you not only saw a zombie that grabbed you, but several others attempting to lumber through water, attempting to come at you.
Any way that we can keep moving?
You can stand up and run.
Standing up and running.
Margar successfully pulled you out.
Are there any other torches on our way?
One or two before what seemingly seems to be an exit.
And he'll run and he'll just like grab a torch, you know, from wherever it's hanging or it's stuck in the ground. So now he's running two-handed. He's got an axe and a torch.
You both continue running to the foreign light, and as you head to what seems to be an exit, sea dissipates, and it seems more like the interior of ships mangled together, and it starts to go from a flat surface where there's several sconces uphill on a 45. As you traverse this up, the further you head out, the steeper the incline up. And there are spots where it's specifically set up that there's makeshift ladders, steps, pieces of furniture that were fortified in order to climb up and down off of. As you look up, you can clearly hear voices up over there. I need the two of you to make agility rolls. To climb up and out.
Yeah.
19.
19.
16. And Margar's basically just using his axe like as a... He's trying to buy purchase every once in a while. Like he'll just sink it into wood, pull, grab onto something. He's dropped the torch at this point, and he's just hanging on and just using his axe to, like, you know, bite and pull, and he's just keeping an eye on Gigi if she's like behind him, next to him, up, you know, like she's climbing better. I don't know.
You both make it up and over, and you see several embraced where there's pallet-sized wooden containers that have all different types of sea creature, abomination, anything hacked up put into these things, and they turn and they see you, and several of them actually come over to help pull you out. They reach in, pull you up and over. As they pull you up and over, they turn and they start to reach the walls for anything that resembles any kind of weapon, and you hear several hands and floated out moans scrape and attempt to climb over that edge, and you have about 5 or 6 embraced that push past you and start hacking away at the zombies.
Yeah. We lost a couple of that one.
How?
After a couple of minutes, they actually take anything that's left over and they continue to hack away at it. Anything that's a head, they cleanly cut off. They throw back down into the hill. Anything that's left over, they dump it into the cases. And a couple of them start to get sealed off. One of the embrace comes over to you two. waves you on, and then starts to head up and out. When you follow him, you start to see cityscape and shoreline. And upon exit, you see the famous amalgamation of ships that were piled over on the shoreline, which is the entrance to seeming this endless sea web of underground labyrinth. You made it out.
We done? He says to Gigi. Where are the others? They should have been here.
Who are the ones to tell us that we are done? I don't think I recognize anyone.
The embrace that escorted you out, he says, from the four of you that were sent down below and everything we just hacked up at exit, I was thinking about evens out. And he has a secondary that comes over to him and is carrying a satchel. And he turns, he takes it, and he hands it off to whoever reaches out.
Yeah, she pulled out.
Gives it to Gigi. It feels about the amount of silver that was carrying. This is 30 silver. You can't accept this. It's yours. The two of them turn and head back to the ship.
All right. So, anywhere else but the salty bitch?
Anywhere but this forsaken town.
A shame Norm didn't make it.
I'm going to miss that idiot.
Yeah. Fucking
Potentially.
Lord Erm.
Son of a bitch, he is so poisoned, could have done it to any of us.
Well, maybe we'll find the others.
I think Morgar touches his back and then feels like a bottle, a little flask.
Shit.
Is it alcohol or is it perfume?
It's perfume.
God, how did he make this shit?
Arm, gone but not forgotten. Son of a bitch.
And as you two head out off the shoreline, I'm assuming out of this decrepit city, that's where we're going to end our story for this evening. I hope everybody enjoyed themselves at home, and our lovely cast, who I cannot thank enough for participating in this lovely adventure. I absolutely love this system. I can't wait to create and add more to it so I can attempt to kill and or entertain anybody. All y'all take turns, but obviously the floor is yours.
We'll
I
give
guess
it to the dead guy.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Chase, Black Coffee Chase. They them pronouns. It's been real fun playing Erm. Dead but not forgotten. You know, he will live inside all of us. Yeah. You can find me at those. But I do want to shout out Finchu 1399. Yeah, thank you for having us, and then also I think I didn't get my odd duck dice in, and I think things would have looked much different for Erm. So that's what I'm gonna blame.
Aww.
everyone. I'm Rose. I go by Rose Bulbasaur on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. My pronouns are she, her. I am a drag queen. I am a trans activist. I am a writer, everything like that. I am here for all the political stuff. So, hey, getting a bit more politically active on all my platforms as well. If you like to feel free to follow me on my Instagram and Twitter. I am part of a group that's going to be playing a game called Agents of Shield, which is a Icewind Dale campaign. We'll be continuing that very, very soon on a brand new channel coming very, very soon. I think by then it will be released, but until then, keep an eye on all my socials to know what I'm talking about. Rose_Bulbasaur on Twitter and Instagram, and then just Rose Bulbasaur on TikTok, where I do lip syncs, spoken word, opinion pieces, everything like that on there if you like to see what I do there at the very least. Otherwise, yes, also a huge shout out to Mike, Venture 1399. Thank you so much for inviting me for this. This is amazing, and I really enjoy playing with all of you today. So we made it happen, Mike. We did it.
We finally did it. We finally did it.
Hey everybody, I am Lou, and you can follow me on socials at Lou Martinez, and I am part of some of us, all of us eventually, I think, in Lagniappe Gaming. We've got a couple of games there, so not sure when this one's going to be seen, but you know, you'll maybe be able to catch Shadows Over Salem or Blood and Jazz, where we play VTM. And I had a blast tonight getting in my accoutrement for this game. Look forward to playing this one again. And shout out to Mike because he kept it together, and we still got this thing off the ground. So kudos.
Had a lot of fun, kids. I am Michael Walsh, otherwise known as Venture1399 on the socials. I do several things. One, I try to put forward is putting spotlights on people in our hobby. I also push for mental health and stress relief via ttrpgs as much as possible. And finally, I also have a couple of extra endeavors besides primarily Lagniappe Gaming, where I am the storyteller for Shadows Over Salem, and I guest in Blood and Jazz. I also star on a superhero game for Restless Barbarian Gaming, Prowlers and Paragons. That is exclusively currently on YouTube. Hopefully by this time it is also available on Twitch. And I have a couple of other projects coming up, so stay tuned, stay informed, follow us, follow Lagniappe Gaming. I would like to thank everybody who attended and everybody that will future attend, because I'm sure this will not be the last time we Mork and Borg or Lagniappe. Catch you later.